Hi, everybody. Wishing all of you a very good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on a lovely Sunday afternoon. I'm so sorry that this is time for you to wake up early on a Sunday and make time for this, but I'm sure it's going to be worth it. Today, we're going to be talking about some of the hottest jobs in the Bay Area or Silicon Valley, and what is it that they value the most? What are the next 3 or 5 years going to look like? Although this is a Sunday morning, I'm sure it's going to be worth every second of your life. Um, Now everything is changing dynamically. We've got blockchain, we've got metaverse that's being powered by a blockchain. There is an enormous amount of AI and machine learning being deployed in every industry, whether it's healthcare or it's finance or higher ed, whether it's whether you're going to hospitals, whether you're using transport, almost everything can be augmented and disrupted with technology. And I think um, some of the jobs, some of the landscape, some of the economic um, shifts are hugely highly powered by these newer technologies that are shaping the world for the better. Well, all of this said and done, I think it is highly important to understand from the experts themselves what are some of the most coveted skills, some of the most high yield jobs, and some of the most lucrative skill set that one must have, one must build to ensure that we can champion the future. Because the future is not going to have a lot of mundane jobs for human beings. I think I was asking a faculty member in San Francisco a couple of weeks prior, I said, what do you think is the role of artificial intelligence and machine learning? He said, look, anything that can be replicated can be taken over by AI or machine learning, but it's still the thought, the design, anything create anything that can be designed in terms of algorithm, anything that has to be built, that's still human beings. So long story short, having the right skill set, having the right capabilities, and knowing the current and future context can help you champion the economic climate or landscape in the near 3 years or five. But doing what you're doing in a routine, doing what you're doing in the last 10 years isn't really going to help, because all of that can be augmented by machines. Now, we're here with the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. We're here with Dr. Greg, Dr. Han, and Dr. Kazem. Um, all of them are senior leads and department chief and chair at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Pretty sure everybody in India and across the world knows the relevance that the West Coast has in the US, especially when it comes to technology, especially California. I don't know if you guys know, but in India, we always believe that we're one of the largest economies, and namely the fifth largest economy in the world. But it's actually California that's the fifth largest economy in the world, and a lot of role has been played by Silicon Valley or Bay Area that is shaping the course. And anything that's closer in terms of academic entity has a huge role to play. While all of you join in, I'm just going to introduce all three of them. These are superlative, highly experienced experts with decades of experience behind them from industry and academia. But what's more important to know is what do I really do with them? So I'll introduce myself. I'm Praneeth. I'm one of the directors at upGrad. What we essentially do is we're a higher ed tech platform. We get some of the top tier one universities like UNLV on our platform to make their courses more equitable, more democratized, more accessible to Indian students like yourself, to Indian working professionals, to Indian fresh grads. And what we essentially do is we let you pursue their courses starting in India and then immediately move to Las Vegas or New York or whichever universities you wish to go to and pursue the courses on campus. So when you do it in India, you get a few courses waived off when you move to the university. Right now, with us, we've got, like I mentioned multiple times, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. They have the MS in Management Information Systems, the MS in Cybersecurity, the MS in Data Science, and the MS in Computer Science. I'm going to introduce all three of them. With them on this webinar, you can pretty much ask anything about cybersecurity, MIS, about AI, about machine learning, about analytics, and about DSCS. I'll introduce Dr. Han first. Dr. Han is an associate professor of MIS in the Department of Management, Entrepreneurship, and Technology at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. She's a PhD holder from the University of Utah. And Dr. Han is the program chair of MIS. What she's going to do is talk at length about how is MIS, which is actually lesser known here in Southeast, how is that one of the most relevant new age courses? And how, so what I really want to know from her and help you understand is how is this a conversion course? And if it is one, can somebody from business actually do MIS and move into a tech job? And if not, then who is MIS for? I'll go to Dr. Kazem next, who received his PhD from the University of Iowa, and he works at the UNLV right now. He was earlier the chair of computer science department at the University of New Mexico Tech, but right now his research includes information retrieval, machine learning, database systems, and currently he's the program chair and professor of the Department of Computer Science. From him, we really want to know that if someone was to be choosing between computer science and DS, computer science and machine learning, computer science and software engineering, why is computer science one of the most relevant and one of the most foundationally robust skills to have? And who exactly is built for this? Can this be a conversion course? And if not, who is this for? And what kind of job linkages are from here? Then we move to Dr. Greg. Dr. Greg is a professor of information systems at the College of Business at UNLV. He is the current director of the graduate cybersecurity course at UNLV. I'm sure you know with metaverse, cybersecurity is highly inevitable. With blockchain, it is inevitable. Almost 80% transactions happening by 2025 online. Cybersecurity is a coveted need. You can't do without it. And so I want to understand for you guys from Greg himself that who can really join CyberSec? What are some of the skills or requirements for it? And how deployable or how equitable is cybersecurity across all industries that are going to be disrupted by technology? And Dr. Greg is a graduate from the CATS Graduate School from the University of Pittsburgh in MIS. So yeah, I mean, Han and Greg share something in common. And of course, he's the current chair of cybersecurity, like I mentioned. With that said, one final reason why you should attend this, if you want to go to the UNLV, you can save almost 15 to 18 lakh rupees when you go through the upGrad route. You pass a graduate certificate in cybersec or DS through IIIT Bangalore, finally go to UNLV in the West Coast and begin and build your career in the West Coast. That said, I'm going to welcome Dr. Han first to talk about MIS. Meanwhile, there's a Q&A box towards the bottom. Ask us anything you want to ask, and Dr. Han will answer those for you, or Dr. Greg, or Dr. Kazem will. But first of all, Han, welcome. We are super excited to be hearing from the horse's mouth about MIS. But let me tell you that MIS is very little to be known here. It's more about information technology or analytics. But we really want to know from you the relevance, jobs, and academically, what's the scope of MIS, and why is it a course that can help them build or create the near future with ChatGPT and whatnot? The stage is all yours.
All right, thank you. My name is Han-fen Hu. Once again, welcome. And I'm going to talk about the Master of Science degree in Management Information Systems. In this presentation, I'm going to show you why you should take MIS, enroll in MS program, talk about our course structure, talk about the career opportunities, and why you should choose UNLV to join your MS program. So first of all, the MS program is housed in the Lee Business School. Some people may wonder, it is a technology-related program. How come it is in business school? The reason why is that we focus on how to apply technology in business setting, so that we want to cultivate our students' ability in understanding organizations' needs. As I just showed on the screen that lead business school is AACSB accredited. So only 5% of the business program in the entire world has this accreditation. So it is important that you join a program that is reputable, that will worth your time and effort. Our program offers evening classes, and we have thesis track or non-thesis track. The difference between the two is that non-thesis track, I would say, is more practical oriented, and thesis track is for people who has interest to go on to the research or academia path. So let me quickly show you the courses so that you can have a better sense of why I say the non-thesis track is more practical oriented. So we include starting from software concept. If you have zero background in programming, we will prepare you for it. And if you already know programming, you can choose to take advanced software concept. We also have strategy, project management. Those are more soft skill, how you communicate the business requirement with engineer, the developers, and manage an entire project for the system. Of course, we also have system analysis design so that we can help our students know how to design a system that fits the need for the user. Some other more technical courses, including the data communication systems, so that you know the network structure and also how to manage data and databases. We will have a culminating experience before you graduate, which is the client project. That means you work for real clients. So they may have different needs. Some will say, develop a proposal for me. Some will say, develop a business plan. Some will do this survey, do that survey, different kinds of projects. But the most important thing is that we want you to have the real experience before you graduate. So that's why we call it a culminating experience. You will apply all what you learned in this course, in this program, into the client project. So those are the required courses, and we will also have 12 electives that you will select the area of your interest. For example, we also have analytics courses, and if you want, you can take accounting courses or MBA courses to grow your ability and skill sets in a specific field. So this is the non-thesis track. We also have the thesis track. You will see the main difference is actually in the research area. You will need to take the research seminar and do a thesis, 6 credits of thesis. Tuition-wise, this is the estimation because for international students, you are considered as out-of-state students. So this is just a very wide range estimation. If you want to have a more specific estimation, UNLV offer a tuition estimator. You can go to this URL so that you can just do a calculation to get an idea. Career opportunity. I think most of you will be interested in what you can do after getting a master's degree from our program. So this is from 2022 IS Job Index. This is for all the US universities. So for example, the top one would be project manager, because our graduates would know the technology, but also know how to manage project, how to communicate business requirements. So I think that would be a very good job opportunity or good fit, good career path for our graduates. The others include software developers or advisor, consultant, data analytics, of course, is a very good choice as well. System analytics or information security analysts. Salary-wise, you will see that for different size of companies, the salary range also vary, and you can see on the screen that for different industry, it range from 100,000 to 73,000. So this is from a different data set. This is US Bureau of Labor Statistics. Fastest growing IT jobs, including information security analyst, computer system analyst, the same as what I just showed you on the previous IS index. Software developer or system manager, database administrator. Also from US News, these are the best ranking jobs except medical jobs. Of course, you can imagine. So if you are interested in IS area, I would say the job forecast is very good and high paying. This is from Glassdoor, the website. This data is a little bit old, it's from 2019, but you get the idea. These are the different occupation that is possible for our graduates, and the job opening, you can see that is a lot. But that's for nationwide statistics. For our own graduates, the job placement rate is really high, 87.5% upon graduation, or within 3 months of their graduation. The reason why is that the local demand in Las Vegas for the IT professionals is very high. And they even have the opening, but do not have enough people to fill these jobs. The average salary for our graduates, some of them has zero background, zero experience. Of course, some are working professionals already. The average salary for the new graduates is $71,000. In UNLV, the Living School, we offer a lot of professional development opportunities to help you get a job right after your graduation. That includes school-wide, we have the Academia and Career Service Center that will help you do job interview, prepare your CV, so on and so forth. And they have different networking opportunities. Specifically for the business technology, that includes the cybersecurity program and our MS program and some other programs. We will have a job fair every semester that will help our students find their internship opportunities and their full-time job after graduation. We oftentimes have a lot of employers join us in the job fair and say, we do not have enough candidates, please send your students to us. The MS Society is our student organization run by students. So they will host different events that tailor to the needs of our students to help them prepare for their future career. The last bullet point here is the LinkedIn Learning. It is a resource provided by UNLV. As UNLV student, you have free access to all of the online courses. So if you feel some techniques or skills is missing that you need to enhance, you can, of course, use this opportunity to enhance your skill sets. This is some demographics for our current students. They have high GPA. We kind of have more male than female, and 41% are international students. All right, that's quickly from the MIS program. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. The email is on the screen, which is met.gregcourt, coordinator at unlv.edu. Thank you.
One of the things that I quickly want to ask you is, what's the largest difference? Sorry, what is the larger difference between IT and MIS?
IT and MIS?
Yes.
IT is just information technology, the very general term. The MIS management information system, I would say, is applying IT in business settings. So we try to closely tie IT with business.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So, and when you're looking at a conversion course for a business graduate in MIS, does this make sense? Will they be able to cope up if they're coming from a non-technical background altogether?
Yeah. So we have two kinds of students coming into our program. One is either they have very strong tech background already, so that we will enhance their soft skill or project management skills, or the communication skill, for example, or design and analysis skills. The other set of students, they have zero IT background, but they work in organizations for quite a while. So we say we can enhance your technology ability so that you can kind of switch your path into more IT related jobs.
Sure. And the last and final thing that I really want to know from you is, what are some of the core skills or core programming tools that are used in MIS?
Core skills. I would say analysis and communication.
Is it that by the end of the MIS degree, what are some of the most useful things that they're going to learn?
Yeah, I think one is difficult to learn, but we try to embed it in every course is group work. So every courses that we have a group project. So you need to work with your colleagues, your peers to complete your project. So throughout the entire program, you will learn how to cooperate with others and even lead a project to complete.
Got it. And finally, what is the admission requirement, Dr. Han, for this course? How much GPA would they need in the UG degree?
We look at 3.0 or higher. And if you have a higher GPA, you will have opportunity to be considered as a graduate assistant. Of course, that need to be applied. And for scholarship, yes.
And there is no need for GRE, or is there a specific requirement for GRE?
Okay. We actually have a GMAT requirement, which is 550. But if you perform very well in the prepared program, the graduate certificate you mentioned, we can waive the requirement.
Got that. So just for all of our live audience and the ones who are watching it on stream, just for them to know that if you score well in the upGrad graduate certificate through IIIT Bangalore, the GMAT requirement can actually be waived off. But you need a 3 GPA, which essentially translates to 60% in your bachelor's. And the backlog limit is going to be 10. So if you, but you still have to complete the degree, the stipulated length of time that the degree is supposed to be covered in. With that, we can come back to Dr. Han towards the end and ask her more about scholarships. But for now, let's go to the chair of computer science, Dr. Kazem, and hear it from him.
Okay, so
What's
let's
that?
see. Am I sharing my let me share my
Everybody who has anything to ask about computer science, DS, AI, machine learning, this is your man. Make sure that you're putting that in. Yes, we can see your screen now, but we can see the last
Good.
slide.
That's what I was going to do. Let me bring this up. I was hoping we all do the same slide, but it's okay. As long as you can see what I'm doing. So can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. You're on your last slide.
I know.
Your first.
I try to, I told you it's late here. So I was trying to finish my presentation as fast as I can. No, I'm just kidding you. Okay, so you can see my screen. Okay, good. So let me tell you about what we are doing in the program at UNLV. So as you heard, I'm chair of computer science department. I'm also the director of data analytics program at UNLV. So when we talk about computer science program, it's really what we call computer science is classical definition of computer science. Definition of computer science classically has to do with anything you do with the machine. So it involves things like operating system, compiler constructions, algorithm development, foundations, architecture, and things of that nature. One of the reasons we developed this data analytics program has to do with the fact that we get a lot of students who don't really have a strong background in traditional computer science, but they wanted to apply for, high-tech positions. And most of the stuff we do in data analytics have to do with, as the word, as the name sounds, has to do with the data. And as soon as we talk about data, it deals with analysis of data, it deals with the machine learning, it deals with database management systems, analytics of any sort. So again, if you come through my program, you can obviously apply to computer science program. You can also apply to data analytics program. But I'm really here mainly to talk about data analytics. And as I said, you're welcome to apply to either program, and I can answer the questions regarding both programs. So, as I said, historically, when we talk about computer science, we are talking about the machine itself. When we are talking about data analytics, it has to do with all the applications of computer science in different disciplines. So our program was designed as an interdisciplinary program. And you see the program we have now deals with 6 colleges at university: College of Business, Engineering, Hospitality, Liberal Arts, Public Health, and Sciences. So the idea here is that if you have enough background in computer science, you can apply your knowledge to any of these disciplines. So again, and if you really look at the computer science programs and what's going on in the United States, many jobs are really into this interdisciplinary programs, which what it means really, you have to apply your computer science knowledge to certain disciplines. So for example, if you look at, you always hear this AI, machine learning, so things of that nature. One of the reasons we always talk about AI and machine learning is because we're trying to figure out what are the applications of AI and machine learning to different disciplines. And that's really where the jobs are. That's where the growth of the industry is. Traditional computer science is still very lucrative and lots of jobs in it. But as I said, one of the reasons we developed this program is because we are trying to apply the knowledge of computing, AI, machine learning, database management systems, etc., to different disciplines. For example, the hottest thing going on right now in the United States is perhaps the application of AI and machine learning to healthcare. And also probably you have been hearing, things like, AI-powered searches. So for example, Google, what Google does versus what Microsoft is trying to do in terms of application of AI to search. As I said, the most of the jobs, in the future looks like that. How do you apply AI and machine learning to different disciplines? And that's one of the reasons we have this program, which again includes all the 6 colleges. So you either have some knowledge of computing or you don't. Either way, you can come to the program. And the idea here is that obviously if you have some computer science background, some of the courses turn out to be easier for you in terms of programming. But if you don't have any computer science background, the idea behind the program is to train you in those disciplines. So the first few courses we have are really programming for what we call data analytics or data science people. So we want to teach you, the basics of programming. Then we want to move on to the machine learning, AI, database management systems, and then move on. So we do things like, AWS, which is Amazon Web Services certificates. We deal with Salesforce. So again, as I said, the idea is to prepare you for this discipline. So that's just give you a little bit background, in what we are doing. So as I said, this program is interdisciplinary. So typically it's about 36 credits. We have eight required courses, 3 electives, and 1 project or what we call culminating experience. I'll talk about those in more detail. So here's the list of the courses that are required from you. So as I said, if you don't have any computer science background, or if you have some knowledge of programming, we'll take you through 3 courses to essentially teach you things like Python, R, SQL, basics of machine learning. If you are familiar with machine learning, or if you're not familiar, you probably hear things like neural networks, regression, things of that nature. All those are covered in essentially those 3 courses. Then what we do, we combine our program with some of the courses offered in the MIS program, which are business analytic methods and tools. In that course, you learn a lot of techniques about R. You learn how to visualize data. You learn how to, run basic data analytic techniques and machine learning techniques on your data. We do big data analytics and then business intelligence. So these 6 courses really prepare you for whatever you need to know when it comes to machine learning, AI, data preparation, data management, and so on. In addition to that, if you're doing machine learning AI, you need to know some statistics. So the 2 courses you see there, we have developed these courses, which are a statistic for data scientist 1 and a statistic for scientist 2. Again, it's supposed to give you all the necessary tools you need for a statistical analysis or probabilistic stuff, so it can prepare you for, as I said, machine learning and AI. Now, as soon as you go through these 8 courses, this is where the strength of this program comes. Let's say your interest is in, let's say you're interested in public health, medicine. So what we do with you, essentially, we ask you to take 3 courses in public health. And so the idea here is that to take the knowledge you obtain in the first 8 courses and the knowledge you obtain in this specific courses in health, combine them together and design and build a major project. So, and that's really done in that what we call the Data Analytics 790, which is essentially take all the knowledge you have gained so far, apply it. And typically the way this DA 790 works, we assign you a researcher in the area, whatever area you choose, and he or she mentor you in developing, let's say, a main project. You do some analysis on that. And so by the time you get out, really, you have a good background into how to analyze data in certain specific disciplines. Again, as I said, it goes through all the 6 colleges. So for example, if you come to Las Vegas, Nevada, in case you don't know that, Las Vegas, Nevada is known for gaming. So if you're trying to do something in, again, by gaming, we're talking about gambling and all the other stuff. So if you're interested into hospitality or gaming, this is again where you can, take the knowledge you obtain from all the courses and apply it to gaming technology. And as it was mentioned by Han-fen, the loss of jobs and opportunity in Las Vegas, Nevada. Just to, so that's really the essence of the program. So as far as tuition is concerned, now again, my understanding is, and we can discuss this later on, my understanding was that most of you are going to finish your basic courses in India. And then you come here for essentially the 2nd year. So if you come here for the 2nd year, the tuition is what you see there, about roughly, let's say, $29,000. And so the idea was that you finish 1 year where you are, and you finish your 2nd year here. And, basically what Han-fen said is everything is available to you. There's all those mentorships, internships, and, building your resume, preparing you for jobs in the future, etc., etc. But again, as I said, the idea was that when we did the mapping with the 36 credits we are talking about, you do 18 credits there, or 9 courses there. But I'm sorry, 6 courses there, 6 courses here, and then So essentially 1 year there, 1 year. That was the basic idea. So hopefully this gives you, again, I essentially went around and tried to figure out, what are the jobs based on the U.S. news. And again, I list few of them, but Han-fen had the, a more detailed descriptions of all the jobs available there. This is some of the, jobs I just picked up quickly. And again, what are the admission criteria to our program? So we'll take anybody with a BS or BA degree, regardless of what the topic is you have studied. It could be in any subject. Again, the reason is this is an interdisciplinary degree between 6 colleges. The minimum GPA we require is 3.0 GPA. If you have programming background, great, you'll do better. If you don't have a program background, we prepare you. When it comes to GRE, we eliminated GRE. We don't have any requirement of GRE. So that's really the basic things you need to enter the program. And what are the skills you learn? So obviously we start you on things like Python or SQL. We do a lot of machine learning and visualization tools. We deal with big data. And there are a bunch of electives. Some of these electives are cloud computing. You can do things like Salesforce, AWS, and so on. And so again, almost anything you hear as far as the skills are concerned, it's available. I'll give you a little more data. So anyhow, so I throw in my name here, and you can contact me. Welcome to contact me. You can contact me, to apply for MS in computer science, Ph.D. in computer science, or MS in data analytics. But as I said, really tonight, I'm trying to really invite you to apply to data analytics program. By the way, most of the universities in the United States of America, they have a waiting list if you're trying to enter things like computer science or data analytics. So, and just to give you a piece of information, in our program, we have 29 faculty. We have 8 or 9 people doing AI and machine learning. So if you're interested in AI and machine learning, we offer all advanced courses as you wish in machine learning and AI. And then, as I said, we practically cover most of the things you have heard in computer science and machine learning. In the computer science department, we have 1,200 undergraduate students. We have over 100 graduate students. So again, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of competition. This is not, again, getting to computer science or data analytics program in the United States is not that easy, but we're trying to make this as easy as possible for the students through this program.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what we'll do is, of course, because you gave us a lot of information, I think it's time for them to process, sink it in, and then come back to you with anything that they'd like to ask you in terms of the difference between analytics and AIML, what are the core skills. But I think, like Dr. Kazem mentioned, Python, R, SQL, the basics of machine learning are some super simple foundational things that if you know more of, if you can pick up, you're good to be in this course. The MSBA, in fact, is a 1+1. You can do a lot of credits made here in India, and then move to UNLV, do the rest of the course. Money on your tuition and your living costs, but I think eventually you get the same outcome. That is the 1+2 OPT, which is because it's the same course, and of course the opportunity to build a career in the US in the field of AI, ML, or analytics. And of course, even if you're a computing background, or sorry, even if you come from a computing background, you're pretty much all set for this course. But even if you don't, like Sir mentioned, there's a lot of scope for you to pick up on the basics and then build on top of it. But the good part is, even if you're not from a tech background, the point of starting your course with us is you have a lot of time here in India to build those skill sets before you actually go to the US. With that said, you're free to ask anything in the Q&A box. I'm inviting Dr. Greg next to talk about cybersecurity, the relevance of cybersec, what kind of jobs are in place, and do you really need a mathematical or statistical background to be in cybersecurity, and how much of analytical or computing knowledge must you have? And what are some of the linkages to what we're trying to build? The kind of what we're building in the next 3 or 5 years with ChatGPT and whatnot, with so much of your data at stake, the inevitable, indispensable nature of cybersecurity experts all throughout the landscape. Dr. Greg, over to you.
Okay, let me pull this up. All right. Let me pull some of these down. Again, thanks everyone for your time so far. And just as a way to put all these in context, these are all just different technology programs that are available to students. Technology has a wide swath of career pathways. We go from the very classic of computer science, where if you want to be on a machine and do software development, which is always needed, that's the computer science. And then when you get to these other degrees, that's the cybersecurity, the MIS, and the data analytics. That's when you want to more specialize of, you understand technology, understand what it is, but you're not going to be a software developer. But technology still runs industry and business. So what type of way do you want to use technology to run the business? So MIS is just general, how does technology help run the business? Analytics is how to use technology and the data to make better informed decisions. And then cybersecurity is how do you make sure that those assets created by the data and the technology are protected and not given away to someone else. So unlike the MIS, unlike the CS, unlike the we're like the analytics degree, we're jointly offered between business and engineering. And we were done that way because there's a different focus that can be done on cybersecurity programs. The traditional cybersecurity programs were first created out of basically government military needs. They needed to make sure they could protect their assets. And so they were very engineering focused, very much on the machines. It was very network administration, web security. But nowadays you can see most of the breaches that happen, even breaches that happened last week, it usually has to deal with a human error. People are involved. There's a business process that someone exploits, and that's what goes wrong. And so we needed to make sure that we have the hard skills from engineering, but then the softer skills from the business side of how do you manage people, understand the business context. So we are one of the newer programs that are being offered, which goes jointly between those two types of schools. And there's less of those available as opposed to ones just offered by engineering. So like Dr. Who said, we're a business school, the engineering school, they're both accredited. We're at R1, which is the highest tier academic rating you can get in the US for research productivity and eliteness of a university. Wait, these are the MIS classes. Hold on. I have the wrong slides up. Where's my mouse?
It's in the same slide deck. You just need to scroll to the back.
Okay. And I have these ones too, which was just the cyber. Okay. Oh, see, that's what I'm saying right here. And like I saw some of the questions that were happening when the other people were talking. We're open to all backgrounds. We do not require that you have a technology background in advance, because cybersecurity is the idea of protecting assets from attackers. You will use technology because those are the tools involved. And that's how all the data stored is on technology. So you need to understand technology. But a wide swath of our students are coming from criminal justice, psychology, and other areas too. And they're doing fantastic within our program. Now, if you come without any technology background, we'll require a remedial course for you to do to get you up to speed, because we still put you through some rigorous technological training and classes. We want to make sure that you understand some basic core concepts so that you are not completely washed out in the program. Like MIS, we are an entirely flexible program for people. We know that a lot of our students are working full-time or they have internships. So our classes are in the evening and they're very flexible. If you can't make it, we're still broadcasting and recording every single class that we do. So we're very flexible. We're offered during the entire year, which is different than other programs. Most other programs at the university are fall and spring. And we also take advantage of summer primarily because one of the biggest cybersecurity conferences in the world is held in Las Vegas every summer. And so we have our students in classes during that time too. And then we also send them over to that DEF CON conference where they can meet some of the best cybersecurity professionals in the world. And they come to Vegas every year. And so we go throughout the entire year to make sure that you get through the program more rapidly also. Oh, but just note, the classes in the summer, they're online because Vegas in the summer, if you haven't been here, it is really hot. So we're online because we understand that people might be traveling. You might want to go home. You can still do it remotely then. Okay, so cybersecurity, like the other classes, we have a core of required courses, which are listed here. The 700, the 703 are technical classes. They focus on different technical aspects, different technologies behind, whether that's the network, whether that's the machine, whether that's cyber infrastructure, like large-scale SCADA systems, which run your nation and infrastructure, or the analytics side, because a lot of these days cyber is being run by analytics because there's simply too much going on. You cannot have a person watching everything. There's literally millions of things that happen in a day, and a person cannot do a million things in the day. So we heavily rely upon analytics and tools for that. The 704 to 706 are more on the softer skills. It's how to understand compliance, legality, ethics, strategy, governance, negotiation, management, cybersecurity planning, and other core concepts related to cybersecurity. And then we end off the program with an intensive, basically internship experience. We recruit large companies and you go work for them for that semester on a cybersecurity project. Like the other programs, international people are out of state. We like data analytics. We require a $300 differential fee for the program to help run it. And there's a link again if you want to calculate your exact cost to come into this program. It'll depend on how many credits you take in advance in India, then how many you have to take here. Nationally, there are not enough people being created in cybersecurity. We have a huge dearth of people that need to be hired, and industry is demanding them. And places like us have only just recently started making programs to supply these people, and we are not supplying enough of them at all. They want more than we can possibly supply, and so they're willing to take people who have basic backgrounds and have an interest and are willing to learn and get up-tooled and skilled as fast as they possibly can. There's an estimate that within the next 10 years, our workforce will be at 33% capacity of where it needs to be in regards to cybersecurity. This is just a heat map showing where cyber is needed. As you can see, we were talking about California at the start of this broadcast. California has a huge demand for cybersecurity because there's a lot of technological companies and they require people to help defend and protect their data assets. As before, this is Nevada focused, but these are the different types of job positions that our students have gone to. Our program has been around for about 2 years. So we just graduated our first batch of students this last fall. We had 9 graduates, all 9 are in positions of employment right now. Best ranked jobs, US News, cybersecurity, 2 in the top 20. Pretty good. So why would you want to go to UNLV? First off, this opportunity to upGrad is providing you to, while you're working in India, start your program so when you come over here, you can get done faster and quicker. And then all these programs are OPT extensions, so they're all STEM programs. Instead of just getting the 2 years after your degree, you have the 39-month extension afterwards. So you have much more time to stay in the US if you desire and work for a company without having to have your visa status changed. Secondly, we're interdisciplinary. That's quite unique when it comes to cybersecurity programs. Most cybersecurity programs that were developed over the last 10 years were created out of engineering schools, and they're very much focused on the machines, and it's more of the network or a cybersecurity analyst defending your network perimeter by firewalls and stuff. There's a lot more that needs to be done on the cybersecurity side. In fact, that's kind of the low-hanging fruit that most is already done. And then why cybersecurity? There is anyone right now that you have good skill sets, you will get hired. People are looking for them. Very much so. And then things that we're doing uniquely in our program, we use our advisory board to make sure that you have local mentors from the cyber community to meet with you one-on-one to help educate you about the different pathways, the different groups to get into to start networking in the program and your field before you're even done, so you know what to do as you're going through the program so you can get out and be job ready. We do multiple course projects with real clients in the Valley. So you're not just doing a textbook or papers. In fact, we don't do papers. We only do course projects, which is a cyber project for a client. We do cyber competitions every semester. Our cybersecurity club at UNLV, the Layer Zero, they've placed in the top 1% for the past 5 years amongst all the universities that compete. We're doing rather well. Our capstone project, as I said before, we have you work for a large client and they've done a great job. Last summer, they worked for the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. And that's just the place that published last month that they created Cold Fusion. So great labs to work at. And then we have an online cyber range, which is one of the best in the world. It mimics a real enterprise environment. So instead of just doing practice things on your machine, attacking yourself on a one-on-one computer basis, which a lot of places do with just virtual machines, we simulate a whole environment with 70, 80 machines, the actual enterprise-based tools that you'd be using. And so it's real cyber on-the-job training as you go through the program. Professional development, like Han-fen was saying, we have job fairs, we have that, we have different clubs. And we've also developed something new that actually some of the leaders for the US government that came out and viewed last summer is, like many law schools have free law clinics that they do with their students to help give free legal advice to just small businesses and people who need help. We now offer a free cyber clinic that our program is going to be involved with, where we use our students and they will go on small scale cyber engagements and give free cyber work to small, medium-sized businesses that come to the clinic to ask for help. Like the other programs, we have a lot of international students. We have quite a mix of women and overall good GPAs because our students are performing well. We don't let anyone slip through the cracks. And sorry, I'm going through this fast because I think that there's more questions and we've been talking for a while. So there's my information if you want to reach out, but I'm kind of done presenting my side, and it's I'm more excited to move to any questions that you have.
Thank you, Dr. Greg. I think that was amazing. I think one of the things that I picked up the most is the sense and the need of all three, whether it's analytics, whether it's MIS, whether it's cybersecurity. I think on the job front, on the return on investment, I think all three of them have equivalent, if not higher or lesser salaries. I think right now it's the kind of skill set that students feel that they're more optimized towards, like you mentioned, to some of them. It depends a lot on their interest, depends a lot on their inclination towards mathematics or statistics. Of course, they would need a lot of math and statistics and analytics or AI or ML. They would certainly need, like you mentioned, lesser mathematical and statistical skill set for cybersec, but of course, a lot more computing and legal interest. And I think one of the other interesting things is that they can easily use all three of them as conversion courses. They can come from a non-technical background and still be able to ease into the rigor. I think one of the things that is important for upgrad students to know is when they do the graduate certificate in India, they can ease into the academic readiness of UNLV, the rigor, the robustness. The other thing, like all three of you mentioned, is the strategic location of the university and how is it. We looked at the heat map and saw that majority of openings is towards California and Texas, a lot of other parts of the West, whether it's Northwest or towards Midwest or South or California. But essentially, I think these 3 or 4 things is the most important, or the most important factors. Where am I coming from and where can I go with it? How much does it cost? How much is going to be the return? To what extent is the US interested to hire this, folks with this kind of a skill set? And like you said, I think, am I going to adjust in this space in terms of weather, in terms of the economical landscape? So all of this makes sense. I'm now going to open up things to the audience and see what they have to say. But I think first things first, can either three of you answer me about scholarships? How does scholarship actually work academically?
So for scholarship, UNLV offer a lot. So we have even just a website for scholarship, and specifically for the business school, we also have the Lee Business School Scholarship. So the student need to apply. It doesn't go to student automatically. So when they apply to UNLV, they can also look into those scholarship opportunity. In my presentation, I mentioned the graduate assistantship. So there's one way to earn the stipend as well. So the student work for the department for 20 hours per week, assist with either research or teaching, and they can have the benefit of waiving the tuition, but also have a stipend. So I think that is a very good opportunity. I would encourage everyone to look into. Of course, it's competitive, but it's a very good opportunity.
Would you mind sharing the link of the chat box, Dr. Han?
Sure.
Got it. Like Dr. had mentioned towards the beginning, GRE can be waived off should you be able to score high on the advanced certificate course. If you're someone who's existentially enrolled with us in the triple ID batch, feel free to change your university. Your initial university may not like it, but UNLV is the place to go. Just for Dr. Kazem had and Dr. Greg to know what these guys are saying is that they'd like to switch their existing option to UNLV because they're a part of the graduate certificate already, but seem to be more impressed by UNLV, which is a win-win for both of us. We'll have a good start and they will come to you this fall. That said, I think we're pretty excited about getting this off the ground. Dr. Greg, I can't thank you enough for playing my part and answering all of those live things at fire speed. Dr. Han and Sir, super keen on starting to sell this, the analytics, the MIS, and the cybersecurity courses, for our students. I think it's a very pretty exciting time. And the more that students know, the more that Indian or Southeast students know about the value, the importance, the relevance, and how much breakthrough can actually be possible, keeping all three of them, at the center of things and at the center of research and the center of new discoveries. I think it all makes sense. The future is a lot clearer right now. I think a lot of students here must have used ChatGPT and kind of know, hey, here's how the world looks like. And with so much happening online, all three of them are indispensable. I'd let all three of you say a quick valedictory word, starting with Dr. Kazem, Dr. Han, and finally Dr. Greg, about how you feel about this subject and what that final word of why students should actually pick this. You can go first, Dr. Kazem, and then Dr. Han can go.
Regarding what? You want me to say a few more things about the program, or
just a quick message for our students as to what do you feel about this course and why should they join you?
again, as I already said, the program we have at UNLV is unique. And, and then the job opportunity, you just brought up ChatGPT, for example, I do a lot of, natural language processing, NLP and AI. So as you mentioned, that's where all the jobs are, and we educate the students, to prepare them for those jobs. And there are scholarships, there are GA-ship available, through all the programs at UNLV. So again, just give you a piece of information. I just looked at our number of applications for the data analytics. We have 56 students applying from India to the program just today. So we have a lot of students, applying from, different countries to the program. but as I said, the opportunity for the students that you are trying to bring to UNLV is that they really need to be only here 1 year, as opposed to be here for 2 years. And so again, lots of opportunity. And as I said before, they have about 29 faculty in computer science department, plus all the faculty we have in the business college and all the other 4 colleges that they can mentor all the students in the data analytics, machine learning, and etc.
Thank you so much. Dr. Head, any final word?
Yes, I agree. UNLV has a unique benefit of the location, our close connection to the business community. And we try to mentor our students the best way possible so that they get their job ready. So I think that's a unique benefit of our program. And all the 3 programs we are presenting today are STEM designated, meaning you have the extended time for OPT if you want to stay in the United States to get a job.
Thank you. And finally, Dr. Greg.
Well, I already kind of did my pitch for my program, and I think that holds pretty well. But another thing to point out too is that UNLV, compared to many of our peer institutions, we are cheap. We are cheaper than most other colleges in the US because Nevada has kept us very cheap. So besides the opportunity that we have, it's a unique city, one of the most unique cities in the world. We have good connection. These are all new programs. They're all state of the art. They're all done very well. We have leading faculty in their areas. But with the upgrad thing, you get to come over here, do less coursework even here. You're done faster, you're done with less cost, and you're getting the high paying degrees.
Thank you so much. I think you actually picked up on what some of us wanted to hear. When you're cheap. No, I get that part. But I think all of this adds up. And I think you've designed the course. You've designed the cost, keeping the student in the center. I think all of this makes sense. Just one final thing, Dr. Greg. How much is the living cost like in Vegas?
Well, I cannot compare it to India because I haven't lived there, but I compare it to other parts of the US, is that we are, as far as a big city goes, we're on the cheaper side. We're not as cheap as Texas, but we're definitely way cheaper than California. We're definitely way cheaper than the West Coast anywhere. We're cheaper than the East Coast. But we're not as cheap as, say, Texas or any smaller or sized city in the country. And we're cheaper than Utah, which is kind of becoming a second Silicon Valley these days too. But we sit between both of them and have a very active airport.
But then who wants to live in Texas? Las Vegas is a fun place to live in. So
Agree, yeah.
I think everybody's sure about that. I know, I'm sure everybody's super sure about the fact that it's going to be a great fun place to live in. But I think it's a good full message that San Francisco is going to be a lot more expensive. Our students go a lot to San Francisco. They go a lot in New York City. They go a lot to Boston, and all of these are very expensive. So at least Las Vegas gives them some hope of fun, economical costs, and of course, Coastal University. Thank you so much, all 3 of you. I know we've kept you up, but I think this was one of the most wonderful spaces that we've ever hosted, with so much of knowledge, information. And I think the slide deck that all 3 of you have had is one of the most comprehensive slide decks I've seen in my lifetime. And believe me, I've hosted about 150 universities, from US News 50 to US News 400. Actually, no, to US News about 200 something. But what I mean is, which is why I don't even have much to ask. You've pretty much covered everything, and this makes a lot of sense. What I'd request you to do is just send me, if you could, just share all 3 slide decks, and we'll make sure that we train our team. For all of the attendees here, whether you're watching us on live stream, whether you're here on this webinar with us, or whether you were here, our programs with UNLV go live this coming week. Sign up, apply, start in India. You don't have to quit your job all of a sudden abruptly, and we wish you all the best. Thank you, all of you. Thank you so much.